कुछ नहीं,
आप भगवान राम से कंपेयर
मैं कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता हूँ, मैं कुछ नहीं कहना चाहता हूँ। आप जो चाहें।
आपने कहा कि आप जस्टिफाई
नहीं, मैं किसी को जस्टिफाई नहीं कर रहा हूँ। मैंने कुछ कहा तो आप जस्टिफाई करिए।
Three terrorists have been neutralized by the security forces in the ongoing Sidra encounter. Now the searches are on. The truck in which these terrorists was hiding has been put on fire as these terrorists were taking the continuous cover under the garb of this truck. The security has been beefed up. Important operation keeping in view the dense fog cover that has engulfed the entire area. But the searches are on in the area and the security forces are trying to ensure there is no booby trap thing with these terrorists. Every step is being taken sensibly by the security forces.
Hospitals remain overwhelmed in China due to massive spike in COVID cases, but China chooses to suppress COVID data. Tanisha's uncle makes a big charge. He says Tanisha read chats that led to break up with Shizan. Education Minister has announced corrected version of Indian history will be taught from January 26th. Prime Minister Modi visits mother in Ahmedabad hospital. Doctors say condition stable. In Assam, CAG flags large-scale irregularities in NRC report. Over 19 lakh applicants excluded.
All right, mainland China is going through a critical phase in COVID pandemic post the lifting of the zero COVID policy. But in fact, in between all the pictures that we are getting from China, we have got another report, this time a US House Intelligence Committee report. Though, of course, there is divergence between the Democrats and the Republicans, but taken together, it presents a picture of China which was not really forthright in sharing information about the impending pandemic, the SARS-CoV-2 virus, COVID-19, when it started back in 2019-2020, to the extent that even the US intelligence community, and for which it has been panned by the report, took a bit of time to get its act together. In fact, I'm told we have two of our guests joining us, and one from London, another from Washington, D.C. If I could be given the names to introduce them. Okay. Debashish Ghosh from London, and we have one more guest from Washington. And Elizabeth joining us from Washington, D.C. Elizabeth, if I could begin with you, since it's about a U.S. House Intelligence Committee report about which we have been reading, and which clearly suggests that the Chinese were either misleading or misrepresenting or outrightly hiding facts about COVID-19 when it really emerged, and which has led to the kind of scale of tragedy that we have seen panning out in the world over the last couple of days. What are you hearing back there in DC about what are possible moves that the US administration could make based on this report, given the fact that the Republicans are going to take majority in the US Congress next month?
Yeah, the the emergence of COVID in China, regardless of where it originated exactly, the emergence or the spread of this virus in the early weeks of this pandemic, back when it was containable in China, that's when politicians around the world and indeed citizens around the world started losing faith in the Chinese authorities, because we all heard through citizen journalists, we all heard about this brave doctor who had raised the alarm regarding this new virus, and he was silenced and eventually died, even though he was a young man. And that's where really the public opinion across the West and indeed around the world started turning regarding China, and also politicians' view on China in the West and elsewhere. And that's the background against which we should view any assessment of China today, because politicians and citizens alike will say, well, can we trust what sort of numbers come out of China now regarding COVID, or indeed regarding anything else? And China has said it will publish the COVID statistics now, but the US, for example, says, well, we are not really sure we can trust those numbers, and we may restrict entry to people coming from China, so that they have to take a COVID test and so forth. That is a result of China not being transparent, Chinese authorities not being transparent in those first weeks of COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take this to Debashish as well. He's Clinical Director, Cancer, NCL, NHS, England, and he's joining us live from London. Debashish, Mr. Ghosh, if I could, ask this very straight question. Are the Chinese really getting a taste of their own virus now, post the lifting of zero COVID policy? And given the fact that they were not very transparent the first time the pandemic is spread, should we be really trusting whatever they are telling the world now in terms of numbers, or whatever is happening there inside China?
First of all, I think they were able to contain the number of deaths and disease in the first phase because they had a very strict lockdown policy. And I think that's which has snapped now. People are unable to continue being in the lockdown anymore. And they had to release the lockdown, and we are seeing the numbers going up. Now, I think even in the past, when 3 years ago, 2019, December, when it happened, we never got the real numbers from them. And we never really got all figures. I think whatever planning we need to do has to be based on our observations of facts and what we can be prepared for. And but I think overall, we are in a much better place than we were 3 years ago. Because right now, we know what the disease is like. We have vaccination available. We have some treatment available. But we can never be fully prepared for something like this.
Yeah, of course. We are, of course, better prepared, Mr. Ghosh, than we were in 2019-20. But even now, if the information is misleading, if there is an element of obfuscation, then obviously there is a limit to what kind of response, or at least there would be some lag in response time if the information is not right. But let me take this back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you are there in DC with the American Enterprise Institute, and you must be closely reading the situation this time, given the fact that next month the Republicans would be taking control of the Congress. You think the entire focus might again come back on the origins of the virus, about which, in fact, we have seen even the World Health Organization, for example, not being very upfront in terms of pinning down or the responsibility or zeroing down exactly how it began?
It may come up again, but the focus of the concern regarding China, both among politicians and among ordinary citizens, has expanded so widely in these past almost 3 years since the virus started spreading. Back then, people were mostly concerned about what is it that we are getting from China? Why are they not being transparent about the numbers and about the spread of the virus within China? Today, you have a completely different picture in the United States and indeed in other countries, where politicians and citizens are concerned about lots of things that China does, including subversion of of the economy by, for example, buying up our best companies. We have seen new legislation in a number of European countries. The US passed new legislation in 2018. So it was a little bit ahead of the game now, concern regarding an invasion of Taiwan. So China in these 3 years has gone from pretty much a regular member of the international community, albeit one that countries had concerned about regarding as a result of China's trade practices, to one that virtually everybody is concerned about. And we are seeing companies, even Western companies that make a lot of money by being in China, are leaving China now, including Apple moving its production of certain iPhones and other gadgets to countries like India and Vietnam. It is a remarkable change that we've seen these past 3 years, and it was prompted not least by Chinese authorities' lack of transparency over COVID that prompted people to ask questions more widely about the way the Chinese government operates.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Ghosh, you know, this concern that has been underscored by Elizabeth, I was also going through some portions of the report which could be worrying. Of course, you can take a position on whether this is possible or not, but clearly the report mentions that the likelihood of a spillover from China's bioweapons program cannot be ruled out. In fact, the report criticizes the American intelligence community while assessing the origins of the virus to have overlooked People's Liberation Army's biological weapons program altogether. You think we should have a relook at it at some stage, if not immediately now, because we are still dealing with the pandemic? Then once we are a little more confident that this is not going to hit us the manner in which it hit, for example, in the first and second waves?
Of course,
it certainly could be looked at again, and we may, or the scientists may then find things that were overlooked in the first instance.
I was asking this to Mr. Ghosh. I'll come back to you. I was asking this to Mr. Ghosh, whether we should have a relook at the possibility of a spillover from the People's Liberation Army's bioweapons program, the origins of corona, as we know it.
See, we do not know, we still do not know where it started from, and these are all conjectures. But one thing is absolutely necessary. We need to always find the root cause where it started, because we do not want to have a repeat of what we have suffered as a result. It is impossible for us to point fingers, because right now everything is a conjecture. But yes, of course, we would love to all find out in the end, and that's the way science progresses.
Mr. Ghosh, you know, it's in a stage of conjecture because obviously it has not been investigated, and that's the question I was asking. But Elizabeth, you were making some point when I asked this question to Mr. Ghosh about the possibility of a spillover from a PLA bioweapons program, and which led to this pandemic really becoming what it became over the last couple of years. You were making some point. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So what is so problematic in this case is that yes, countries compete at the military level all the time, including China and India. But when it comes to public health, and I think that's the points that my fellow guest just made, when it comes to public health, we rely on countries to cooperate, and that's what the World Health Organization is there for, and other global bodies, so that we can avoid global crises like this pandemic. And if we don't have that level of cooperation from certain members, then the whole system falls apart. The global population was subjected to COVID-19 because China failed to contain the spread in the first instance and failed to alert other countries about it until it was too late. And so it's fine it's not fine, but it's just a reality that countries compete in other areas all the time. They even go to war. But when it comes to public health, it's in everybody's interest to be transparent, to share data. And that's what China inexplicably failed to do, which is why there is this concern still and doubt about even including the origin of the virus.
Yeah. You know, if the Chinese really wanted to be honest, they had so many opportunities and moments when they could have been. But obviously, even now, they continue to obfuscate. For example, the latest decision is that they are not going to share the daily data insofar as the spread of COVID in the latest round in China is concerned. But Elizabeth, my last question to you. The report says that the House Republicans, they have identified at least 40 scientists and public health officials in the United States who can really, who have worked on this and can throw a clear light on the origins of COVID. You think that an activity like this, the report says that they would be from next month interviewing this list of 40 scientists and public health officials to find out exactly how China really misled the world. You think an exercise like this really helps and the Americans, with all the enormous infrastructure they have in terms of information and intelligence gathering, can manage to now really pin down China for the havoc they have played with humanity over the last couple of years?
I think it has to do more to do with communicating with the American public. An exercise like this, as you said, comes on top of what the various intelligence agencies have already investigated. But the point is that so many Americans and so many citizens elsewhere have doubts about China, and they want to know, to the extent possible, what really happened originally, how this virus came about. So I don't think, and my fellow guest may have another view on, may have a different view on this, but I don't think it's that crucial from a public health perspective. It's more about communicating with the American public, essentially telling the American public we're doing everything we can to find out what happened, and we'll tell you what our findings are.
All right. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Braw there, Senior Fellow of American Enterprise Institute, live from Washington, D.C. And of course, we also had Dr. Debashish Ghosh, Clinical Director, Cancer NCL, National Health Service of the United Kingdom. He was live from London. Thank you so much for both my guests to have spared their time and joined us here in India. And on that note, that was a conversation on what China is doing and what the Americans might want to do, particularly post the change of majority in the US Congress with the Republicans taking over next month. But back home, the focus is on what's happened in Mumbai. The story of starlet Tunisha, her suicide, and the investigation that's been going on. And in fact, now we are told that with the police having confiscated the mobile phones of both Tunisha and Shizan, of course, who's now under the lens of investigators, whether he played a role in abetment to suicide in any manner. Chats of both Tunisha and Shizan are there with the police. According to police, they have recovered the chats, and these are running into about 300 pages, and these happen to be from June to December, almost till the time that Tunisha committed suicide. And we have an exclusive interview on this story done by our correspondent Sandeep. Let's have a look at it.
कोर्ट के अंदर आज 5 दिन की रिमांड मांगी थी पुलिस ने अपनी रिमांड रिपोर्ट में, डिटेल रिपोर्ट में, इन्वेस्टिगेशन में जो पिछले 4 दिनों से उनको समय मिला, उसमें इन्वेस्टिगेशन में उनके सामने जो तथ्य बाहर आए वो रखा। उस तथ्य को रखते हुए आज पुलिस ने 2 दिन की और रिमांड बढ़ाई है।
एक सवाल और, सीक्रेट गर्लफ्रेंड की बात की जा रही है, व्हाट्सएप चैट्स जो है उसने डिलीट किया था। इन तमाम चीज़ों को लेकर के किस प्रकार से जो है पुलिस ने चीज़ों को सामने रखा?
नहीं, पुलिस ने चीज़ों को रखा, सामने लाने से ही आज मेरे हिसाब से 2 दिन की रिमांड बढ़ी है। और यही उनकी माताजी की प्ली थी पहले दिन से, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है। उनकी माताजी ने भी अपनी एफआईआर में यही कहा था कि तनिष्का के साथ साथ शिजान और भी लड़कियों को डेट कर रहा था, जो मेरे हिसाब से तनिष्का को नहीं जमा था, जिसके कारण ये स्टेप हुआ कि क्या हुआ वो अभी और इन्वेस्टिगेशन जब आगे बढ़ेगी तो बाहर आएगा।
क्या वो सीक्रेट गर्लफ्रेंड के अलावा और भी अन्य लड़कियों के बारे में पता चला है क्या?
डेटा निकला है, अभी तो डेटा उनके मोबाइल से रिट्रीव किया है, तो चैट्स करीबन मेरे को जहाँ तक अभी कोर्ट में बोला गया करीबन 300 पेजेस के चैट है, तो इट विल टेक टाइम टू रीड एंड फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज देयर।
मैं सिर्फ ये चाहता हूँ जो भी सच है वो सामने आए, और जिसने मेरी बच्ची को मरने पे मजबूर किया है या उसके साथ जो भी हुआ है उसको सज़ा मिलनी चाहिए।
जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। एक और बात बताइए कि कोर्ट में क्या सीक्रेट गर्लफ्रेंड का जिक्र किया गया था?
जी, उसने कुछ चैट्स डिलीट की हैं, किसी और लड़की की चैट थी जो उसने डिलीट की है, ये पुलिस ने बताया कोर्ट में। अब वो लोग रिकवर करेंगे तो सच पता चलेगा।
ठीक।
All right, Sandeep, in fact, joining us live from Vasai in Mumbai. Sandeep, we heard the lawyer say that these chats run into about 300 pages and it will be a while before we exactly know what exactly transpired between the two and whether it had or these chats had any connection with the suicide of Tunisha. But please tell us, you are there on the ground, you've been engaging with not just the lawyers but those associated with families on both the sides. There is this story of some chats having been deleted as well. You think there is some connection emerging between the chats and the suicide?
See, definitely, and on the same grounds, in fact, it was, the custody was in fact demanded by Wale police. Now, police just want to know whether these chats with Shizan's secret girlfriend were deleted before Tunisha's suicide or after Tunisha's suicide. Now, remember, it has a huge importance of this chats because as Shizan Khan had in fact broken up with Tunisha Sharma, she had in fact got an anxiety attack on 16th of December and she was in fact admitted at a hospital in Mumbai. Now, after which the mother of Tunisha Sharma had in fact tried convincing Shizan Khan as well of being in relationship with Tunisha, as Tunisha was very much in love with Shizan Khan, so she could not bear the breakup with Shizan Khan. And what police sources have informed us that at the same point of time when Tunisha was in relationship with Shizan, Shizan was also dating several other women as well. Now, police also suspect that he might have deleted several numbers and several chats with several other women as well. So, for the same reason, remember, Abhishek, at this point of time, Tunisha's mobile phone is locked and police is unable to retrieve the data from Tunisha's cell. So, for the same reason, now the only source of retrieving the WhatsApp data and other data in regards to this case is through Shizan Khan's phone. So now the police has also written to WhatsApp for retrieving the data, and now they will be extracting all the WhatsApp chats, and in fact they have already extracted around 250 to 300 pages of WhatsApp chats have been in fact retrieved by Wale police, and in fact that has been registered with the police at this point of time, and these are the chats between Tunisha and Shizan. Remember, 250 to 300 pages WhatsApp chats are between Shizan and Tunisha. So police is in fact trying to unfold the mystery of what actually happened between the last conversation of Shizan Khan and Tunisha, and in fact after 15 minutes of that conversation she committed suicide. So there are several answers which needs to be explained or which needs to come out. So definitely for the same reason now police has started the investigation.
Right, Sandeep, obviously there is some connection between the mystery of those 15 minutes and these chats, and that's what police is investigating following clear allegations made by the family of Tunisha. On that note, we'll take a short break. On the other side, in Assam, CAG flags large-scale anomalies in NRC report. Over 19 lakh applicants excluded.
Powered by ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India Limited. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
सोच रहा हूँ कमेंट्री ट्राई करूँ। मैच का आखिरी बॉल, तेज तूफानी डिलीवरी, एक धमाकेदार शॉट और ये गया छक्का।
छक्का नहीं, टूटा। आपके टाइल्स को चाहिए MY के लेटिक्रीट टाइल एडेसिव। फॉर्मूला ऐसा कि अब टाइल न टूटेगा न छूटेगा।
For how long will you continue being tensed about the future? Pension can free you from future's tension. With LIC's new Pension Plus, make your own pension plan because this plan creates market-linked wealth for your future. Moreover, this plan comes with guaranteed additions and also offers various options for receiving pension so that you grow young and tension-free. LIC, har pal aapke saath.
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
India welcomes those who further India's pride across the globe. Indian diaspora, partners of New India's growth journey in Amrit Kaal. Come and be a part of the 17th Pravasi Bharati Divas from 8th to 10th January 2023 at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. For registration, log on to pbdindia.gov.in.
Welcome back. The Controller and Auditor General of India has detected large-scale anomalies in updating the National Register of Citizens for Assam, the report of which was tabled in the State Assembly on Friday. Updating of the 1951 NRC for Assam was done under directions of the Supreme Court of India in order to detect illegal citizens who had entered the state after March 25, 1971, known as the cutoff date. The final NRC list published in August 2019 had left out about 1.9 million or 19 lakh of 33 million applicants on suspicion of their claims as Indian citizens. Let's look at this report.
I worked as a state coordinator from December to 2019 to July 2022 when I retired. So, as in charge of the NRC, I knew what were the irregularities happened, this financial irregularity, as well as the technical irregularity, which led to inclusion of lakhs of foreigners in the NRC. So, within 2 months of my joining, actually I got to know everything. And I reported it to the government, Government of Assam, as well as the RGI. But somehow the government did not act on that. Ultimately, I had to file 2 FIRs with the police, one with the CID. That was on technical ground, how the names of foreigners were entered into the NRC. And the second one, with the Anti-Corruption and Vigilance Department, where I mentioned all the irregularities, financial irregularities, and requested the police to take action accordingly. But unfortunately, both the registers, both the affairs are yet to be registered by the government.
All right, a short break. On the other side, the Education Minister announces corrected version of Indian history to be taught from January 26 in schools across the country.
Powered by ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India Limited. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university for the 10th year by India Today. A testimony to Amity's world-class education, whilst imbibing values and sanskars in students.
Our success reflects your trust. Global business crosses rupees 20 lakh crore. Thank you customers, stakeholders and well-wishers. Canara Bank. Together we can.
क्या हुआ रोहन? क्या सोच रहा है?
रिया पहली सैलरी मिली है, तुम भी कुछ आइडिया दो, एक्सपेंसेस को कैसे प्लान किया जाए।
रोहन, एक्सपेंसेस के साथ साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान करना भी जरूरी है।
देखो, सैलरी का कुछ हिस्सा घर के रेगुलर खर्चे के लिए और कुछ मैं अपने लिए भी तो सोच सकता हूँ ना, लेकिन इन्वेस्ट कहाँ करूँ?
सिंपल है, एनपीएस में।
एनपीएस में? रिया अभी तो मैंने कमाना शुरू किया है, इतना आगे के लिए अभी से क्यों पैसे जोड़ूं?
वो देखो, एक एक करके ईंट जोड़ी जाती है, तब जाके एक घर तैयार होता है। वैसे ही अभी से पैसे जोड़कर हम भी अपना रिटायरमेंट सुखी बना सकते हैं।
बात में तो दम है।
एनपीएस कम लागत वाली फ्लेक्सिबल लॉन्ग टर्म योजना है, जिससे आपकी बचत ग्रो होकर पेंशन का लाभ देती है।
अच्छा, फिर तो मैं अभी अपना एनपीएस अकाउंट ओपन करता हूँ।
जो कल की सोचते हैं वो आज से ही थोड़ा थोड़ा जोड़ते हैं।
पेंशन है तो टेंशन नहीं। एनपीएस में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है।
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels.
ये सामने फ्यूल पंप है, वहां से ले लें।
जी सर, फ्यूल तो पिछले पंप में भी मिल जाता, इंडियन ऑयल में ऐसा क्या है?
कुछ है स्पेशल, खुद ही देख लेना।
स्पेशल?
अरे इंडियन ऑयल की तो बात ही कुछ और है।
जरा देखिए, फ्यूल तो बराबर डाल रहे हैं ना।
अरे यहाँ कंप्लीट ऑटोमेशन है, मतलब प्योर और पूरा दोनों ही। इन सेंट्रली मॉनिटर्ड मशीन्स की एक एक रीडिंग का हिसाब है यहाँ पर। क्या हुआ?
सर बिल।
हाँ बिल हो गया।
वाह सर,
याद है ना, इंडियन ऑयल की बात ही कुछ और है। इंडियन ऑयल, पहले इंडियन फिर ऑयल।
Let's top headlines right now. Prime Minister Modi visits his ailing mother at UN Mehta Hospital in Ahmedabad. Hospital issues statement on PM's mother, states that her condition is stable. From Congress MP's alleged murder call to Sadhvi's controversial comment, who is polarizing? After insult to Hindu, senior Congress leader now says party needs Hindu votes. Education Minister announces corrected version of Indian history to be taught from January 26th. In the dock for ICICI Videocon loan fraud case, coachers sent Dhoot to stay in custody till Thursday. Viewers, we are live and breaking this Wednesday evening. I'm Shivangi Shukla. We're getting the top updates right now on India's #1 news channel, Republic TV. Congress's leaders' appeasement politics on record now. In fact, we're getting to know that AK Ashney is saying that we have to win the trust of the majority. Support of the minorities alone is not enough. We need the backing of Hindus as well, viewers. So this is the comment coming in very clearly. Vadra Congress appeasement politics is on record. Where they're getting this statement, I repeat, getting this statement where AK Anthony is saying that we have to win the trust of the majority. The support of the minorities alone is not enough. We need the backing of Hindus as well, viewers. This is a big news we are tracking for you right now. We are getting that the Congress going ahead and participating in vote bank politics. Let's go ahead and play out that statement.
ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ജനങ്ങൾ നാനാജാതി മതസ്ഥരാണ്, ജാതിക്കാരാണ്. അവരിൽ ഭൂരിപക്ഷം നമ്മൾ കൂടെ നിർത്തണം. ന്യൂനപക്ഷം മാത്രം പോരാ. ഇന്ത്യൻ ജനങ്ങളിൽ ഭൂരിപക്ഷ സമുദായം ഹിന്ദുക്കളാണ്. ന്യൂനപക്ഷത്തോടൊപ്പം ഹിന്ദുക്കളുടെ ഭൂരിപക്ഷത്തെ കൂടി മോഡിക്കെതിരായ സമരത്തിൽ നിർത്താൻ സാധിക്കണം. അതിന് എല്ലാവരും കുറച്ചുകൂടി ജാഗ്രത പാലിക്കണം. ഇവിടെ മുസ്ലിമിന് പള്ളിയിൽ പോകാം, ക്രിസ്ത്യാനിക്ക് പള്ളിയിൽ പോകാം. ഹൈന്ദവ സുഹൃത്തുക്കൾ ആരെങ്കിലും അമ്പലത്തിൽ പോയാൽ, നെറ്റിയിൽ തിലകം ചാർത്തിയാൽ, ചന്ദനക്കുളിയിട്ടാൽ ഓളം തന്നെ അവർ ഹിന്ദുത്വ സ്വീകരിക്കുന്ന സമീപനം, ആ സമീപനം മോഡിയുടെ ഭരണം വീണ്ടും വരാൻ മാത്രമേ സഹായിക്കൂ. അതെല്ലാവരും ഓർത്തിരിക്കണം. ന്യൂനപക്ഷങ്ങൾക്ക് അവരുടെ വിശ്വാസങ്ങളും ഒരാരാധന തുടരാൻ സാധിക്കുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ അതിൻ്റെ ഭൂരിപക്ഷപ്പെടുന്ന ഹിന്ദുക്കൾക്ക് അവരുടെ ആരാധനാലയങ്ങളിൽ പോകാനും അവർക്ക് കളഭക്കുറി ചാർത്താനും ചന്ദനക്കുറി ചാർത്താനും തിലകം ചാർത്താൻ അധികാരവും. അതാണ് അംഗീകരിച്ചില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ രാജ്യത്ത് വീണ്ടും മോഡി തിരിച്ചുവിടും.